Al-Qaeda?
Taliban.
Taliban.
Yes.
Because of their level of support? Or?
Because they are the population. They get strength from the population. Al-Qaeda doesn't get strength from the population. If you deal with the tribal elders in the various agencies, they are prepared to agree to getting rid of all the foreigners, Al-Qaeda. But if many of them would like to go across the border and fight with the Taliban there against the coalition forces.
And then as we come towards the period of your negotiations with Benazir Bhutto and so on, during that period, I read that on July the 27th or whatever, which that would have been, I suppose, 2007, you did actually meet to talk, to negotiate, to talk about a coalition. You actually met?
Twice.
Twice?
Yes.
Where did you meet?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. Yeah. And those negotiations went well?
Yeah, I think they went very well.
Yeah. And they could have been put into action if there hadn't been the tragedy, or there had been a different result in the election.
If the tragedy of Benazir assassination, and also her returning, she was not supposed to return before the elections.
Oh, I see. She'd agreed to wait until then, so the elections would have happened, and she would have survived the elections, because you realised that she would be in even more danger than you would be during an election.
Yes, there were threats on her, certainly, and we even got intelligence reports from the UAE, and I told her personally that there are threats, very, very potent threats. If you don't believe us, we've got intelligence from UAE. But she came. There were certain threats when she landed and she would travel in the airport. There were definite threats of a number of suicide bomb teams' presence. She ignored all that, and there were bomb blasts en route, and so many people killed. And then when she went to address this public gathering in Rawalpindi, this is a very, very busy and a very congested location in the Liaquat, but it's popular for political activity. On the first time she wanted to go there, I did not allow her to go there because there was a definite threat at that time, and I said you must not. And unfortunately they made a lot of hue and cry against me that I am not allowing her political activity, but it was simply a threat to her life. The next time, then she ignored all that. I said, okay, she wants to go, let her go. She's not understanding. And then you know what happened, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. She was a brave woman, but in that case, you would have said she didn't listen enough in that particular situation.
Absolutely. You should see the just a week or two weeks maybe earlier, where she was not allowed to go, and what all the People's Party, her party, said against me, that I am not allowing political activity, whereas that was not the case.
And that was not the case. That was a tragic incident. When it came time for you to step down, how difficult a decision was that to take, or was it just obvious that you'd had several years of the economy going well and things like that, but now your time had come, as it were?
Yes.
How difficult was it to decide that?
I mean, very honestly speaking, the difficulty was not from my personal point of view. I don't have an ego, I don't have any lust for any riches and all that I must remain in position and perpetuate myself permanently. That was not the case. So it was easy for me personally. But I knew that it will lead to tremendous amount of turmoil. That was the difficulty. The difficulty was from Pakistan's point of view. So finally, but when I saw that it's inevitable, and that even if I stay on, I'll be some kind of an impotent president, what is the point in staying? I'm not the kind of person who sits around uselessly. I can't be a useless man. So therefore I took the decision, and I think I was right in my judgment of what will happen to Pakistan.
which we talked about earlier, and so on, and in terms of the situation there, you said how things would have been different if you'd still been there in power and so on. But what about the relationship today with America? Is that healthy now, or not as healthy as when you were there?
No, there is unfortunately a trust deficit, I think. And the
trust deficit?
Yes. As far as the attitude of the people of Pakistan towards the United States, it remains the same almost, if not a little worse. But as far as the worst part of the whole situation is, where there is a trust deficit in United States against the ISI, and in many quarters against the army. Now that is a very serious situation which never existed. These are the two institutions which are the guarantors of stability of Pakistan. They are the two institutions which have played a critical role and an important role throughout the last 3 decades, from 79 onwards, in whatever we wanted them to do, whatever the government wanted them to do. Now, if we have to fight terrorism and extremism, and these two institutions are to be mistrusted, who in Pakistan is going to fight terrorism and extremism? They are the people who are going to do that. So how can we have such a wrong attitude towards them? So I think, firstly, if anything has to be repaired, this trust deficit has to go, certainly. Otherwise, I think the two elements which are critical to fighting terrorism and extremism, they are demoralized and they are not getting the entire support.
We're going to extend this fascinating interview after this break.